In this segment of Richard Lloyd's Appendix, I'm going to discuss a couple of different examples from his series, The Alchemical Guitarist, and discuss how they interface with some of the concepts that we've been talking about so far on this channel, specifically the X Plus system, as I label it, and the red, blue, green system, which is built, of course, upon 1473625. So let's get further into probing the depths of Richard Lloyd's Appendix. Let's get the man up here. Boom. There he is. Player. Baller. Let's talk first about the X Plus pentatonics concept that I have outlined here on this chart. This is actually a fairly simple concept to memorize and internalize. And odds are, if you've sat around and learned the stock stuff from classic rock, I'm talking Zeppelin, I'm talking 38 Special, I'm talking the things that you'd hear on Dad or Grandpa's classic rock channel, odds are you know some of these patterns already, and you've never actually thought about expanding them across the board, because that's very much my relationship with this. This one concept we're going to be talking about here, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what Ace is doing on Love Gun. And so I know these patterns, but I've never actually formalized my thinking about these patterns. And it's really interesting how you can even have all of the mechanics already underneath your fingers, and if you don't see it mapped out or expressed a certain way, it just doesn't quite resonate the way that it maximally could. All right, so with enough dillying and dallying here, let's talk about the formula. Essentially what Richard Lloyd's talking about in this first example, I'm going to demonstrate it here and I'll throw it back up on the screen, is that we can really think about pentatonic scales in a pattern of 2s and 3s or 3s and 2s if we want to express them across two strings. Why do we want to express them across two strings? That way we can start moving them through the three different octave registers that the X plus 2, X plus 5 sort of mathematics system of this allows for. So let's say I want to do A minor pentatonic. I'll start this off. It's going to be a little quirky because I'm actually going to start on G here. But I'm going to come down to G. I'm going to go index ring. There, so I'm going flat 7 to the 1. This is actually A now. And then we're going to get C, D, E. So 3, 5, 3, 5, 7 for all you dot players out there. And then I can mirror that exact same concept down the strings. Which is convenient, again, is one of my fundamental playing ideas that I hope I'm getting across here is it's always more efficient to have a harmonious repeating fingering. To play ideally as many different clusters of notes as possible. Red, blue, and green, yeah, okay, it's the 2 whole steps, it's a whole half, and it's a half whole, right? But thinking about these as mechanical expansions gives us a lot more versatility, and that will be in the second portion of our lesson here. But this is real nifty because I can basically just, boomer 2-finger wonder this thing and get up to the 12th fret super easy from the 5th fret in a way that is easy and repeatable. And remember, practice your dissensions. What goes up must come down. Newton says it, but it's true in music too. Now here's where Lloyd's system gets real interesting and quirky, and that is that I can sort of expand the same concept and go to the 4th away, or I guess the 5th away, depending on how you want to think about this. So here's what I mean. If before I'm going 3, 5, 3, 5, 7, and that's giving me A minor pentatonic, check this out. I go 3, 5, 7, 5, 7. Now I have E minor pentatonic. So here's A minor, E minor, or you could think of this as 1, 4. It's real interesting. I mean, the only difference here, right, is the B and the C. So G, A, C, D, E, G, A, B, D, E. So we really also kind of get into a nice little nook between those two scales where they sound strikingly similar and the intervals are really shared, which I think can open up some really interesting harmonic options if you're voicing through those two chords, right? So like, especially if you're on bass, you got an A minor. Really interesting to keep more or less implying the same notes, but making the one minor adjustment to compensate for that. So I think that's really a nifty reformulation, and it'll help you sort of visualize, okay, where is my companion pentatonic off of the scale I'm currently playing? You can think about that in a couple of different ways now. So I really loved that concept from his Alchemical Guitarist. And then the second concept I want to throw at you guys today here is taking the red, blue, and green figures and adding a slide to move them from a hexatonic expression of a diatonic scale. I know, fancy. College words right there. What do I mean? 6 out of 7 notes in a major scale, right? We can get that 7th note into the mix here now. So what do I mean by this? A couple of different ways to think about this. I can take my red pattern here. I'm going to do F major. Just start right here at the 1st fret. If I slide in up 2 more frets here, now I have created the full scale. See, I don't play through these a lot. And I'm going to start taking that as a challenge to play through them a little bit more here. The only way to really get them fully internalized, of course, is to practice through them. But you see how nifty that is? Now I don't even need to think about red, blue, green, red, blue, green. That's got its own versatility too. But this one's real nifty, especially if I need to go up the elevator, down the elevator. I can use that and basically stay in just my index, middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky all day, all the live long day. And we can do a similar trick with blue and green as well. Just in case I was moving a little quickly here, all I'm doing is I'm doing that pattern. And now X plus 2, so we're going to do the same thing at 3. And then X plus 5, so now we're going to do that same thing at 6. 1 plus 5 is 6. You can do math too. I mean, even though we're musicians, typically we only count to 4. If we really apply our brains, what the great thing about music is it teaches us mathematics. We can get upwards. I've seen friends of mine get upwards to 10. It's quite impressive, really. And that's without fingers. They didn't even do the trick. They didn't even do the counting trick. All right, so the last two I want to talk about is, let me get that up. Let me get these visualizations up. So there's the X plus visualization, and then here's Richard Lloyd's expressions of these. And you can see, I'm really glad I have these because this is what the red, blue, green system is trying to expand on, especially for comprehension's sake. I know a lot of people look at a chart like this with the black and the white, and their ability to fully connect the musical concepts gets a bit strained because they are just so busy trying to see the black and white pattern. The colors are there, and the reason we use red, blue, and green is to shorthand intellectually upwards of 6, upwards of 9, in some cases with the reds, intervals at a time, and also add a little bit of figuratively and literally color to some of these examples so that they are more vivid. The color makes the concepts more vivid. Seems simple, but I don't know, man. I've seen it work for a lot of people. So my hope is that expressing some of these ideas with a fresh coat of paint, I'm going to keep laying in on these puns. I'm not even going to apologize. And can demand your apology down below. Like and subscribe. And then take your apology request to the grave. And all right, let's talk about the red and the blue and the green before it just degenerated into a full-on roast of the audience here. All right, so I can do that same thing with the green here. I can turn, that gives me a Dorian, right? But that would give me a minor. So this would be green with a slide, blue with a slide, boom, minor. So that could be a good one. If you are so moved by that one. What is he doing? On this one, he goes... No, he does a Dorian. Yeah, he turns that into just a straight Dorian. He just doesn't label some of these, right? Well, right, yeah, that you end up with a Dorian there. But I could alter that green, blue. Green plus slide, blue plus slide, natural minor. Isn't that neat? And then we can kind of play that same gimmick. I guess this would be a low. That feels wrong. I feel like I didn't get that one right. Let's try it again, only with more notes that are correct. And then slide, right? Okay. I mean, that's certainly an approach too, right? We can use this sliding technique though to come up with different figures. That's really the point here. Feel free to use these examples, right? Like if I'm looking at this, I've got that first one's obviously a natural major. The second one will be a Dorian. Okay, this is broken down mode by mode. Chris understands what he's looking at now. Hopefully you do too. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned a little something from this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Hey, last week somebody asked me about a technique question and that ended up being a prompt for a video. If you've got a technique question, if there's some sort of thing that you think I could discuss in one of these, 10 to 20 minute video breakdowns, that's what the channel's here for. Go ahead and leave those comments down below. Also want to mention, for those of you who are interested in a deeper dive into Itchganito, we did one that we can get away with over on the Patreon because we can't get away with a whole heck of a lot here on YouTube. And I'm still confused how other people are doing it. I really am. I think some of them are just willing to take the pings. But I am not. So if you are interested in a deeper dive on Itchganito's playing and you want to support this channel, the Patreon's a great way to do that. Please go over to our Patreon. It's a great way to get lessons from me too as well. There's also some more links in the bio, so go ahead and check those. Like, subscribe. I don't know, I'm pointing in different directions, but I'm sure one of those will correspond with the links that will pop up at the end of this video. Thanks, guys.